Hey, hey, hey. What's going on, everybody? Oh, Ponk just sent me a GIF. Oh, God. I think I might be in trouble. Let's just wait for the call to open up. We could drop the pop. And here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good myself. Oh, come on,
All
Stardew.
right. Farm is up.
There we go. Hello, trash duck.
Gunter
Ah,
asked me to say hi. Nice.
another delightful morning. Where is my lovely wife? There she is. Oh my God, she made me an omelet.
Dang, I didn't know she can cook.
It's super fluffy. I'm keeping it on me. Now she's going to stare at the fireplace for hours on end. Hello.
Oh, trash dog. It's Mark.
It's Summy. God, it's like last time when I got the Legend of Zelda outfit.
Yeah.
Oh, the fruit bats have been busy. Selling it all. Hello, kitty. Yeah,
Divisible by free system is still working out.
very good. Such a good system. It's so easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
All of my delightful farmyard friends. Pop down this other chest. kind of feel silly for thinking I need to put a sign in front of it because there's a shed in front of it, so you can barely see it. But it's just like an overflow chest for the main one that we've been using.
Main what chest?
Like the one that has the stone and the wood.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take some of this stuff and just transfer it over to the other one. Just so that we have some more room.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff. Lug. Sell the stuff.
Carrot juice and pickled wild horseradish. Have we been working on that?
Yes.
Okay. On both?
We've got the pickled horseradish already. We're just waiting on the carrot juice.
Okay. Didn't we harvest those last time?
Mm-hmm. No, it's in the keg already.
Ah, okay.
We're just waiting for it to get done becoming juice.
Okay.
There's seed worms in the middle of our bluegrass.
Oh god, those signs.
Yeah, like can't really see the signs for the first 3 chests, so I'm not gonna put down one for the new one that I just put
I
down.
mean, you can see it if you're behind the shed, because
Right.
it turns transparent.
We do just have 3 signs sitting around. Let's see here. We'll use the acorn. All right. Pierre wants sashimi. Evelyn wants a leek. Robin wants 10 pieces of hardwood.
I got a leak.
I got 10 pieces of hardwood. I forget if we were stockpiling hardwood for anything.
I mean, we're very close to just building the movie theater, anyways.
Yeah.
Don't think so. I mean, the next step would be the island, I think. Which we need hardwood for, but I don't even know how much that would be.
And as far as the island is concerned, I think we are in more need of iridium.
And batteries, because we still haven't gotten a thunderstorm yet.
Mm-hmm.
Only rain.
Enter the sewer and ask Krobus about the Dark Talisman. Eh. Oh, I still have that quest from Clint to bring Emily an amethyst.
500 gold for a league.
Ha!
Trash bread.
Ice. The best kind of bread.
All those extra flavors and toppings.
go, Emily. Don't kiss me. I'm married to your sister.
They don't mind that. I tried.
I need to plant more trees on this beach.
Your fascination with the beech trees.
I can't believe it actually grew. Like, I'm still just so stunned by that.
I can't believe something I tried actually worked.
I mean, this also tells me that, like, that the beachside farm might not be as big of a challenge as I was initially thinking. Because if you can grow stuff in sand and it just takes longer, then that's not really an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to speed run this game. I know there are people that do.
There sure are.
All right.
Okay, so apparently the thing with trees only, the thing with sand only applies to trees, but not crops.
Okay.
Mm. But any sand works, including the desert. So you can just turn the desert into an oasis full of trees.
Hmm. I like the sounds of that. Okay, let's stash some of this trash. I know it's late. I have to sell this beer.
I really enjoyed your ramble last night, by the way, on wrestling.
Oh God. Yeah, there's a reason why I don't go on about pro wrestling a whole lot, because I'm highly opinionated and it's a very niche subject. And I know that none of my usual audience really cares, but every once in a every once in a while, something in the modern day just hits me the wrong way. And
Mhm.
it's just like, what the fuck are these idiots doing? It's like, don't they know how this is supposed to go? They're the ones in the business.
Mhm.
But I'm also glad that I was reminded about
Oh.
those the two matches that I linked videos of, because I rewatched them and I was just so excited rewatching those.
We got giant cauliflower.
Yes. Oh, two of
Mhm.
them. Hell yes. Oh, don't throw that away. Also, there's a live stream that started up on YouTube recently that is replaying old wrestling shows from like the early to mid 90s, and I'm assuming into like the late 90s as well. And it's the kind of stuff that I started watching, or that I got started with pro wrestling by watching.
Okay.
So it's been fun reliving some of that stuff. Are we gonna try to dupe the cauliflower?
Yeah, I think you. What I would have suggested. What I would have suggested is you giving us a countdown, and then we just spam it from there, hoping that we hit the dupe, because I don't know how many hits these take.
All right. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, we got it.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. I got a secret note.
And a ton of cauliflower, I'd wager.
I got 56 cauliflower.
Nice.
Things I love: the smell of carved pumpkin, keeping an amethyst under my pillow, chocolate cake, the thrill of spicy eel. the,
Emily?
the thrill of spicy eel?
Emily?
Abigail.
Abigail, okay.
And the comfort of mom's blackberry cobbler. I
Yeah.
like to eat. We're not gonna replant anything for the next couple of days.
Nah. Don't think anything can grow that fast, even with speed grow.
I've already given Haley a gift today. Well, then can I give her a smooch? Thank you.
So, out of curiosity, since you gave me the content warning, I didn't actually Google the AEW, which I was originally going to. How many of these wrestling leagues, associations, whatever you want to call them, are there?
Um, As far as the big ones that have television, there's two.
Are
There's
there some without
there's
television? I thought the entire point was it being like televised and being entertainment.
no, there's a lot that don't have like major network television. But
Okay.
WWE and AEW are the big
Yeah, so
ones.
WWE, I know that there's some video games about that.
Yeah, they've been the big ones for like 30 or 40 years.
This, so, do they have like any different focus points, or is it just two different soap operas running on different networks?
Kind of.
Okay.
Um, AEW has less of, what's the right way to phrase this? They have less of a mainstream appeal. Like they're more focused on the people that already know about pro wrestling and are already into it, and they're not necessarily trying to appeal to casual fans.
Okay.
Where I feel like WWE has kind of always been the brand that is trying to appeal to a wider audience. The other company I was talking about last night is a company called Total Nonstop Action, or TNA.
Okay.
And it is kind of supposed to be a play on tits and ass, TNA,
Okay.
because the guy that named it that is permanently stuck in his adolescent years.
Oh, I know. I know a few people like that.
But like they had they had a network TV deal back in like the mid 2000s, and that was when I was watching them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a breath of fresh air at the time, because WWE at the time felt really, really stale, and it felt like there really needed to be some kind of a change, because it had been like in 2006 when I started watching TNA, it had been about 6 years since WWE had bought out their competition at the time
Mm-hmm.
and put them out of business. So there was no competition in pro wrestling on TV.
Is it even like is competition even the right word? Like why like tell me as a wrestling fan, if there's just two different like strands of wrestling, why would I choose one of them instead of watching both of them?
Tribalism.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the pro wrestling fandom will eat itself alive. It's
Okay.
it's ridiculous. There's people that are just so sold on anything that's not WWE that they're like, oh well, I'm not even gonna try to impersonate or make impressions of, but yeah, the immaturity in the pro wrestling community is astounding. I've seen people wish death on each other because they don't watch a certain television show.
I don't get that. Like
Yeah.
isn't there like there's so much potential for tribalism in wrestling just inherent to the sport. Like you could eat up each other about like which wrestler to support. Like that's something I
Hmm.
get behind, and I'm sure that's happening. But
Oh yeah.
like, uh,
It's yeah, it's dumbfounding. But oh my God, I don't even know how many other like smaller promotions are out there that don't have TV but will still put on like internet-based shows. They'll stream
Okay.
it onto their website or
Oh,
something.
okay. Right.
And then
That makes
there's
more sense.
and then there's even smaller promotions that don't even do that.
How do
Bec-
those finance themselves? Because
oh, through
like,
the live attendance.
oh really? That's enough?
I mean, these are really small promotions and they don't take that much money to
Yeah.
finance
All right.
compared to something like WWE where they've got like this massive stage and entryway and pyro, video screens and music licensing. So they need to rake in like
Mm-hmm.
millions of dollars, and they do. But, some tiny ass little promotion that's just running in the local armory or in a bar.
That sounds dope.
I mean, as long as they rake in like $1,000 per show, then they're probably set because they don't have to pay that many people and they don't have to pay them that much.
What was that thing about the what was it? A friendship bracelet you were talking about? Because
So,
that straight up reminded me of the South Park episode where I'm like, okay, this doesn't have anything to do with me anymore. This is just
so
straight up telenovela.
yeah, so I feel like I have to mention some of these guys by name. So there's two wrestlers.
Mhm.
One who was the bad guy in the situation named Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
Big,
So
like,
is that real names or is that wrestling names?
wrestling name. I don't
Okay.
know if it's his real name or not, but it's his wrestling name. But he's like this big 6'6" Scottish guy,
Ooh. Okay.
just jacked and pissed off at the world. I mean,
Okay.
he's a lot of fun to watch and listen to, even though he's a bad guy.
Okay.
And the other guy is named CM Punk,
Uh-huh.
who just happens to be one of my favorite acts in the business right now because, oh, what's the right way to phrase this? When he's delivering promos or, he's talking on the microphone,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to tell where he's the right way to phrase this is when he starts working.
What? Huh?
Yeah. The phrase working means that you're doing something that's that's not legitimate.
I'm
It's
not following. I'm sorry.
I know. This is why I don't talk about wrestling that much.
No,
But
I'd like to understand it.
it's hard to tell where the truth ends and not necessarily the bullshit starts, but that's the best way I can think to phrase it.
Okay.
And that's when wrestling is at its best, when you can't tell where the truth ends and where the bullshit starts.
Do you have an example in mind? Like, are we talk? Like, what kind of bullshit are we talking about? Are we more in the like trash talk or?
It's more just like the storyline aspects of it. If I'm trying to find the right words for it again. Because like when two wrestlers are working with each other, they'll
Hmm?
shit talk each other all the live long day. they don't necessarily want to, pull knives on each other back in the locker room.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the work of pro wrestling
Mm-hmm.
is getting people to believe and go along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't think that, when they were filming the Thor movies, I don't think Chris Hemsworth and Tom
What's gonna make it?
Hiddleston were gonna,
No.
knife each other.
No.
But you would believe that Loki would pull a knife on Thor.
Mm.
So, like, it's that same
Ah.
kind of thing.
So you're saying it's hard to tell with that person if like the person behind the role is saying these things or if the role is saying these things.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something I can get behind.
And because, especially, like, 10, 15 years ago, when this guy was, like, legitimately pissed off with the company, he would come out on national TV and just start burning the place down verbally.
Okay.
Talking shit about upper management, talking shit
Mhm.
about other people in the back.
Okay.
And people were just so sold on the way that this guy could talk and could deliver these promos.
Wait, so when that happened, like that guy going out of his way, shit talking about the company, like how do you know that that's not part of the gig?
You don't.
You don't. Okay. And that's where it gets interesting, right?
Yeah, because he's just out there apparently airing his grievances out in public. And you're just like, is this guy serious? But then, like, after he left the company, maybe like a year or two later, he went on to a podcast and, like, actually started talking about what was going on. So it's like,
Okay.
oh, he was serious about this. But, anyways, these two guys, uh, CM Punk had come back to WWE after like a 10-year absence.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly how many years he was gone from the company, but he was gone for a long time and seemingly just done with wrestling.
Mhm.
So he comes back and everyone is super excited to see this guy back. And one of the first people that ends up having an issue with him is this big dude named Drew McIntyre.
Uh-huh.
And they had, I think they had like one match at a pay-per-view event, but then, like the next week on the show, CM Punk like casually mentions his wife and his dog.
Ooh.
And he shows this friendship bracelet to the camera that has the name of his wife and the name of his dog in the little beads of the friendship bracelet.
Okay.
And then maybe like a week or two later, Drew McIntyre kicks his ass, leaves
Mhm.
him laying, and takes the friendship bracelet off his wrist.
Oh God.
And for the next like 2 fucking months, these two are just at each other's throat over a
Nice.
friendship bracelet.
All right. Nice.
And
Did he get it back?
oh, he got it back.
Nice.
And then and then the next week, Drew McIntyre breaks it and stuffs the beads into his mouth.
Oh no.
Yep. Like he doesn't put the beads in his own mouth. He puts them in the other guy's mouth.
Oh, okay. I see. Both of that would have made perfect sense.
And this feud between these two guys was widely considered by the fans to be one of the best feuds that WWE has put on in like the past 10 or 20 years
Hmm.
because it was so personal.
All right.
And there's a old wrestling promoter from like the 60s and 70s that famously would say personal issues draw money.
Oh yeah.
Like it's true in MMA, it's true in boxing. If you're just promoting a fight, it doesn't matter if it's going to be a good fight or not. If the two guys are pissed off at each other, there's going to be more interest. Oop, give me that. Alibi. It's a rusty cog. Finding all sorts of fancy bullshit. But oh yeah, there's lots of international pro wrestling as well. I know
I okay.
a couple of years ago I was a big fan of a of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Mm.
And it was just because it's a completely different brand and they don't necessarily do things the same way as American promotions do. That and it's presented in Japanese, so I can't understand what the announcers are saying. So it's more of like a natural process. Okay, who is this person? What's their deal? And should I, as a fan, get behind them?
Okay.
And I have to do all that without the announcers holding my hand and telling me.
Oh, is that usually the case? Where the announces partial wherever the story goes?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there's not very many wrestling announcers that, well, because I mean, that's part of their job
Hmm.
is to sell people on whatever story it is that they're presenting.
Good guy versus bad guy.
Yeah. And
So,
sometimes they'll have like a secondary announcer that will be like the counterpoint. Like if one guy's pulling for the good guy, the other guy will stick up for the bad guy and let you
ah,
know, okay, yeah, this guy might be a jerk, but you know, in this instance, he's kind of right or he's kind of justified in thinking or acting the way that he does. So it makes the issue a little bit more complex and it makes you have to think about it a little bit. The other fun part about watching Japanese pro wrestling is every once in a while the announcers would say something in English and it would completely throw me off guard.
Like tiny English words thrown in here and there.
Mm-hmm. Like, because you'd understand something every once in a while, or if there's
Yeah.
an American wrestler or English or Australian or someone with like an English sounding name,
Mhm.
they'd say their name and be like, okay, well, at least I know they're talking about this person. But the instance I'm thinking of is one guy says something, the other guy says something back to him. The first guy says something real quick, but then he said in English, "What did I say?" So like he fucked something up with how he was saying it. And he was confused. He was like, well, wait a minute, what did I say? So little things like that make me laugh every once in a while, but I have not really watched. I haven't actually watched much modern wrestling in a while
Mhm.
because a lot of the guys that were my favorites in like the mid 2000s ended up getting jobs with WWE. So I was like, good for them. I'm happy that they're getting these giant paychecks.
Mhm.
And, it's almost like I don't feel like I need to support the smaller brand or the smaller TV show because all of the people that I enjoyed are in the big company making the big money.
Mhm.
And then when I heard about AEW starting up, I heard like the handful of people that they had that were like the basis of their roster. And I'm just like, no, no, these guys are not, they're not big enough. They're not well known enough to be able to support a, a big TV show. Because like when TNA was at their most popular, they were pulling in like 2 or 3 million people every single week
Mhm.
to the TV show. AEW is not even doing half that. Like they're
What
pulling in like 600,000 people every single week.
is that? Like I have no idea about numbers in that sense. Like what
All
would
right.
be sufficient for such a franchise to support itself?
So when WWE was at their most popular in the late 90s, they were pulling in 10 million people
Okay. Okay.
like every single week. And, that dropped off at a certain point. And even TNA pulling in like 2 million people every week is respectable.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm not sure how the television networks are even okay with AEW only pulling in like 6 or 700,000 because
Is that
you
really that ill?
I mean I'd have to look up like viewership numbers for like Law and Order SVU or any of the Law and Order shows
Mm-hmm.
because like Seinfeld reruns will get like millions of viewers.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
like if you can't pull in 1 million viewers with first run programming,
Then why not just do any
yeah,
reruns
then
of stuff
why
that's
not
already
just
very
why
cost
not
effective? Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I
So
guess that makes sense.
it's not a business model I understand. Also, the guy that owns AEW, um, his father owns the Jacksonville Jaguars NFL team, and he has a a government patent on a product that he invented, which is the major source of his money, you've probably seen or heard of the thing that he invented because it's car bumpers.
Oh,
Th-
oh,
Those things
okay.
on like the front and backs of cars,
Yeah,
they're
no, I know those.
yeah. Apparently the guy that owns AEW, his dad came up with that idea, patented it, so that every time someone wants to make a car that has bumpers on it, they have to pay him a certain amount of money.
You know, that's a multi-million, billion-dollar idea right there.
Yeah. So, like, this guy is fucking made of money. And his kid, the guy behind AEW, he's not running the company with the idea of trying to make money.
That's a good starting point, honestly.
Not as far as running a business is concerned.
Right, but I mean, if you have
It's
all the money in
it's
the world,
it's
then
great for the
you
people
can.
involved.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like you can give jobs to people doing things they enjoy that, well, supposedly enjoy, that otherwise they wouldn't have a chance to, because it's not financially feasible. And then you also have the viewers who wouldn't get this kind of entertainment if there wasn't some like non-profit driven motivation behind it.
But that's why people had to make pro wrestling entertaining back in the day, is like because
Yeah.
they were their whole company was based on, we've got to make enough money to pay the wrestlers and pay for this, that, and the other thing. And the way
Right.
that they did it before TV was just through live attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you're able to draw tens of thousands of people to a big arena and they're going to pay even as little as like $10 a ticket, 10 times 10,000.
Mm-hmm. That's quite a lot.
That's a lot of money. And pro wrestling used to be just like a license to print money because you could draw that many people to a big arena
Mm-hmm.
because you had personalities that caught people's attention, or you had guys that put on great matches and the fans really reacted to that. This is why I'm more interested in the history of pro wrestling than I am in the current product.
Mm-hmm.
To see how people used to do things when they didn't have the benefit of bottomless wallets or television or internet content.
Yeah. How is internet wrestling holding up against all of that? Because just because it's not on TV doesn't necessarily make it bad. I'm
Right.
always thinking about that one clip of an interview I watched regarding the Mr. Beast channel, which I'm not watching, but watched some of the numbers of it, and the amount of views the videos get from that channel are like more than the Super Bowl has. And then they compared like how much money you need to pay for a Super Bowl ad, which is incomprehensible, and
Right.
then having to pay like, I don't know, twice or three times as much just because you got twice or three times the range with those videos. Like, got to a point where single advertisers wouldn't even be able to afford the spot, so they had to
Mm-hmm.
like do multiple advertisers just buying a spot together and figure something out. So I mean, there's definitely some money to be made in the internet industry there.
Yeah, the companies that do shows online are primarily doing them because they don't have television deals and
Mm-hmm.
they're not very big and they're not very well exposed.
Okay, but so television is still a big thing, like television broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Although WWE did just take their Monday night show that was on network TV for, again, like 30 or 40 years, well, since the early 90s, and they just moved that onto Netflix.
Okay.
And, I'm not really sure how that affects numbers, not really sure how that affects ratings. I
I
know
mean,
it would turn me off because I don't have Netflix.
that's fair. I feel like this kind of deal or this kind of decision does not really like if I were the WWE and Netflix would approach me about a deal like that, I feel like the most logical thing, already having something in place that works consistently for me, is to make a deal where Netflix has all the risk. So let Netflix pay something that is enough that you don't care either way,
Mm-hmm.
and then let Netflix have the issue of figuring out how it's going to be profitable for them by doing proper advertisement, having it pull in more subscriptions than previously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't I don't know all of the details to it because again, I've largely checked out of modern day pro wrestling, but I still listen to a fair number of like pro wrestling related podcasts
Mhm.
and YouTube videos. And again, that's mostly because the podcasts and YouTube shows talk a lot about the history of the business and individual people's history in the business and their unique perspective on things. Actually, a guy named Stevie Richards. I've just started watching his YouTube videos within the past like couple of months, and he's got a lot of interesting stories to tell and a a very unfortunate recent medical history, which is
Oh,
a terrible thing to hear, but it's because he wasn't a very big guy and he's throwing himself around in the wrestling ring, getting hit with all these different kinds of objects. One thing landed wrong, and he ended up with a broken neck. And then, just a couple years ago, I don't know how it came on. I don't know how it initially started. I think it's because he has like some herniated discs in his back and in his neck. But he ended up with a spinal infection
uh,
and, having to spend all sorts of time and money in the hospital. And he's not 100% better now, but he's at a manageable point. And it was kind of a nice thing to see because he initially started up like a personal fitness YouTube channel and he
mhm.
got himself into just incredible physical shape. And then just like a couple months ago, he thought that the spine infection had come back because he was going through all the same symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what it wasn't the spine infection coming back, but one of the discs in his back was so out of place that it was pressing against a nerve in his spine, which is just the most unimaginably painful sounding thing.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
So, on one hand, it's seeing how he has overcome these injuries that he's had and he's actually able to lead a productive life now,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the sad thing about pro wrestling is once guys are either too old or too injury prone to continue to do this, it is so hard for a lot of them to reacclimate themselves into society. And there's a lot of these guys that just end up completely burning themselves out, either with, drugs, alcohol, or otherwise stupid decisions.
Yeah, I guess they didn't reach superstar level enough yet at that point to be able to just live off of savings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, that's the sad truth of it. Because unlike normal sports, pro wrestling is not based on merit. It's not based on what you're able to do. It's more based on who you know.
Right, that's what I was going to ask. Is there
Yes,
like a is there like a we did it by the way.
we did it.
Is there a writing staff making all the decisions or how does that work?
Back in the day, there was someone called a booker,
Mm-hmm.
and it was one guy that had a clear focus of how he wanted things to be done because he knew the audience that he was creating the wrestling for. He knew what they wanted to see, who they liked and who they didn't like, because people could read the room back in the day. People could,
Yeah,
judge
yeah. Mm-hmm.
other people's reactions. Sometime in like either the late 90s or early 2000s, probably even back in like the early 90s, there were there wasn't just one booker. They would have like a booking committee. They'd
Mm-hmm.
have they'd have multiple people sitting down at a table trying to make these decisions. And you'd get a lot of conflicting opinions.
But
In
that honestly just sounds like a writer's room.
it was. But wrestling never had that prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Okay.
again, it was generally one person with an idea of what they wanted to present.
Right.
Then all of a sudden it became a bunch of different people trying to get their voices heard and a bunch of egos clashing
Mm-hmm.
and people from outside wrestling were eventually brought in at some point. People that were more traditional, like television writers, were brought in. And they just did not really have an idea of what they were getting themselves into. So they would make stuff that they thought that people wanted to see. And,
But they had no idea about the wrestling community.
Yeah.
What they actually want to see. Okay.
And, some of that stuff would work for a little bit because it was different. But then when they're like, Okay, well, it's not just been for a couple of weeks that these guys are doing it this way. It's seemingly this is the way these guys are doing things now. And a lot of the more traditional fans would check out at that point.
Right. Very interesting.
I mean, when it comes to pro wrestling, I'm a fan of people that know what they're doing.
Do you mean like on a technical level, as in not hurting anyone, or
The aspect of both in the ring and behind the scenes.
okay, yeah, I see.
Because I've watched wrestling that was presented by people that weren't in the wrestling community and just thought they understood it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched wrestling that was made by people that have been in the business for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the latter is a much better product because they know what they're doing. They know how to produce content that people want to see because they've been doing it for all this time. And they've learned from people in the past that had been doing it for decades. And then you get the people that are just like, oh, well, if we do things right, our ratings will never go down. Nice. Thank you. What movie are we going to go see?
I don't know. Just bought a movie ticket.
Okay. Glug, glug, glug.
Not gonna lie, it looks very out of place there.
Oh, let's go see Prairie King.
Are we? Okay.
Da-da-da! Hello,
I
boss.
cannot even order a snack for myself.
Not looking for a return on my investment? Are you kidding me? This is my investment.
Mm-hmm. Who's this guy here in the back?
I'd love to chat, but I need to head back to the museum. So why are you just fucking standing there?
Why is this guy so weirdly square?
This game is in use by someone else. He is a very square man. I think
The head is very cylindrical.
he's a Lego man.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I
Hell?
cannot order a snack for myself, only for a guest, which you're not considered.
I think I just accidentally got texted by someone that I do not know,
Okay.
and they're continuing to text.
Are you sure it's an accidental text and not some kind of scam?
No, it's like people talking to each other. But I think
Huh.
they just mistyped one person's phone number. It's like the first thing that I saw was like a picture of someone holding a passport. And then I just got like 3 other texts from that same like group text.
Journey of the Prairie King, the motion picture. Don't think I've seen this one yet. Oh my god, that mustache.
Oh my god. I'll do away with that self-righteous sheriff.
Rumble. Bam.
That's that's a rock slide. That's not an avalanche. I thought avalanche was with snow.
Slow,
Look!
slow.
Bam!
He's done it again.
Holy shit, he blew up that water tower. That's that's drinking water for the whole county, you jerk.
The end.
Wagon train is saved. No, that was a good movie.
Oh yeah.
Yo, the cool kids are here.
They
They're
got the same text for all five. That's lame.
they're all engaging in lively discussion about the film. This
Same
jerk is
much.
still on the crane game. How am I ever gonna win fabulous prizes? Hello, Demetrius. Are you engaged in lively discussion about the film? No, he's just deep in thought.
About the film. Very likely.
They gave that such a big text box, too.
Mm. Tuna frenzy.
Let's see if I can get there in time for the tuna frenzy. Hello, Penny. Yes, hello. I heard there were tuna. I think this might have been an incredibly short-lived frenzy.
Is it already over?
Unless they're over on the other, like, island here. I'm not even hearing them. Oh, there they are. Catch me some tunas. Oh, they're jumping. 40-inch tuna. Not imagine going fishing and catching something that was 40 inches long.
No, that's ridiculous.
Any of the fish I've ever caught have been incredibly small.
Oh, but you've been fishing?
Oh, yeah. I went fishing a number of times when I was real small,
Mm-hmm.
and then, oh, like maybe like 15 or 20 years ago was probably the last time I went fishing. And that's a possum. And the one fish I ended up catching that day was, again, incredibly small, but I had managed to hook the fish not only through its mouth, but the hook was coming out of its eye.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I asked the guy I was with, it's like, hey, do you mind like helping me with this? And he's like, I'm not helping you with that. Like, well, I guess I'm gonna kill this fish because I don't know how to get this thing out without doing a lot of damage to it.
Oh yeah, no, the damage was done at that point.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like, well, let's just put this poor thing out of its misery at this point. But yeah, I had friends back in high school that really liked fishing and, went out with them a couple of times. Most of the time, never caught anything, just managed to get really drunk.
That kind of fishing, I see.
But It's not it's not exactly my thing. I like fishing in video games a whole lot more than real fishing.
That's understandable.
Like fishing in Stardew is a lot of fun comparatively. Well, comparatively, it's a whole lot of fun. On its own, it's still an enjoyable mini game. Trying to remember something my brother used to say, where it's like you can tell if a video game is good if it has a good fishing mini game.
Mm.
So, yeah, we were big fans of Ocarina of Time back in the day. That fishing mini game is a lot of fun. Even managed to have some fun with what was it, Super Black Bass on the Super Nintendo. It's, the fishing mechanic in that is fairly similar to what you have in Stardew. It's a little bit more complex because
Yeah,
the whole
I,
the whole game is based around it.
I think I even played that once. Doesn't that game have some kind of reputation for something?
Oh, I don't know. I just remember playing that game one day with a group of friends, and in the game, we're in a bass tournament where you have to catch the most amount of bass. And we hand the controller off to this one guy, and he's just catching anything, you know, trout, bluegill, other fish that
Mm-hmm.
are not required for the tournament. And
Mm-hmm.
the other guys and myself are just sitting there like, dude, what are you doing? We need to catch bass. And he's like, dude, we're gonna win because we caught the most fish.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't matter who catches the most fish, it matters who catches the most bass. It's like, but we caught the most fish. And it's like, are you not listening to us? Or do you just not care? Because we're sitting here trying to win this tournament in the game, and he's just, no, I'm going to do my own thing.
Weird.
So we, we didn't continue passing the controller to him at a certain point.
That's very fair. So, now that we finished the Joja quest line,
Yes.
what are we going to do?
Hmm. Oh God, Haley, why are you so dirty? You weren't this dirty 5 seconds ago. What the hell just happened? She fell into a mud puddle that's somehow in the house.
Did you leave? I can see a lot of mud puddles in here.
She gave me a star drop.
How did you get 14 hearts?
Probably. Taste
Huh?
reminds you of money.
It's a pre-recorded message in a foreign language. You can't understand it.
Smooch. Hmm. There's not really a whole lot that we haven't done.
I mean, I was thinking of starting something else. If you're down. Question is more what?
Right. Yeah, I'm down to do whatever. Glug, glug, glug.
Trying to think something small for starters for tonight.
Yeah, because the one idea that's popping into my mind is I don't think is going to be a quick process.
What would that be?
It would be a co-op playthrough of Morrowind.
Oh God, I don't even have that. I do have that.
Because here's the deal. I have heard from a source that I believe, and I've seen it in the past, that with OpenMW, which is Morrowind redone in a better engine,
Okay.
that multiplayer in that is better than multiplayer in Fallout 76, which is
I
a multiplayer game.
okay. That sounds good.
And I've also seen people doing streams of Test 3 MP, which is the program.
Hmm.
Only thing is, I'm not sure if well, no, I'm pretty sure I don't have Test 3 MP, so I would need to go download it as well. I
Oh
do
yeah, I've heard
already
about that.
I do already have OpenMW because that's how I've been able to play Morrowind.
Yeah,
Because
that's something you would have to send me a tutorial for how to set that up.
I don't think it's that complicated, but we could give it a shot, and if it doesn't work out, we can always fall back on something else.
No, that sounds good.
Well, all right. I think also at some point I'll have you send me a copy of this save file as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me go ahead and do that right now.